In today's daily puzzle with white to move, we notice that material is balanced, but we can also reflect upon the tale of two hanging pieces. Our light-squared bishop is hanging, and although it also looks like the knight is hanging, notice the queen-bishop battery has rather cruel intentions against our king, with mate and 1 in the air. Although the dark squared diagonal leading to our king is quite weak, the g-file is open for business, so we can confront the enemy king with rook g1. Our calculation task is greatly simplified as crouching in the corner allows us to capture the knight, delivering checkmate. This means the enemy king is forced to f8. Now we'd love to capture the knight, but we still have that slightly inconvenient shadow of mate and 1 breathing down our neck. This sense of urgency can inspire us to find a compelling forcing move, or perhaps worst case scenario bail out into a balanced position by trading queens. Well, before we're overly eager to sign this peace treaty, let's take a look at our most forcing resources. How exactly can we challenge the enemy king? Well, one idea is to sacrifice our knight with knight d7, attacking the king and knight simultaneously. But that knight tension certainly goes in both directions. We sacrifice the knight in order to clear open the long diagonal for our queen, forcing the king to e7, when our rook can swing back to the e-file, but this is well met by blocking the e-file with one of the minor pieces. Although the bishop is pinned, it still supports the threat queen h2 mate. Our bishop is hanging, and we're simply just down material. Sacrificing our knight on d7 did clear the h8 square for our queen, but unfortunately it led us down that all-too-familiar road to nowhere. The move itself may not work, but the idea of trying to find ways to open up lines against the enemy king should not be discounted so quickly. By forcing the king to f8, the f-file is starting to feel almost as congested as my sinuses. Now, if only we could find a way to make this pawn disappear, we could capture the knight with check. Well, we can kindly ask the pawn to move out of the way, but maybe it's not so interested in doing so. Perhaps we can be a little more persuasive, recognizing that the king and queen are in forking distance of our knight, and it just so happens the pawn is the sole guardian of this critical square. So this means we leap toward our puzzle solution by playing knight e6, forking the opposing royalty, so the only way to not lose the queen is by capturing our knight, allowing us to capture black's knight in turn, gaining a critical tempo against the king, and forcing it to return to its origin square. We've reached a treacherous moment in any puzzle, or exciting attacking game for that matter. We have the attacking momentum, and there are no shortage of ways to attack the king. Rook g8, bishop g6, or queen e6 all come to mind. We need to zoom out and keep our hand away from the mouse until we've carefully considered our options. Inviting the rook to crash the back rank party looks incredibly tempting. Encouraging the king to d7. As promising as this feels, our momentum begins to wane because black's bishop is the absolute glue of the position, defending the queen as well as supporting mate and 1, while also keeping a watchful eye on the rook. And whether we decide to capture the pawn with the bishop, confront the king across the 7th rank, or play queen takes e6, the bishop also serves as a loyal shield for the king. When try as we may, our pressure on the light squares is countered by our absence on the dark squares. There's simply no way to make progress. Paying the king a back rank visit hit a dead end, and it also turns out that attacking with the bishop leads to a similar roadblock as black's king will happily dance across the light squares. Since allowing the king to escape using the d7 square is such a problem, we're able to put an end to the puzzle's resistance by capturing the pawn with the queen, confronting the king while sealing its fate across the back rank. King d8 stumbles into mate and 1. King f8 is a similar story, this time with the rook. Leaving us with the puzzle's desperate defense, the bishop is able to temporarily defend the king, but at the cost of a deadly self-pin. Since the bishop can no longer defend the back rank, our rook turns out the lights with rook g8, concluding a harmonious mating attack. Thanks for analyzing today's daily puzzle with me. This is National Master Dane Matson, and as always I look forward to seeing you next time, right here on Chess.com.